Let's see if I can get. I wish I had. Good morning, Courtney. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hi.
Hey, how are you? You.
Doing good.
I know that the writer's strike is just ended, and you have been ripping and running. But we were doing our demonstrative speeches, right? So we're in the middle of our demonstrative speeches. But you've taken your time to speak to Chicago State University CMAT 2030. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome actress, director, writer, the incomparable Miss Courtney Nichole.
Former classmate of your instructor.
Right, former classmate. We used to go to school together. Let me get over here. Courtney, can you just give us you see me? You can see me? All right. All right. All right. Can you give me a little background of your journey on being an actress and some of the things you've experienced, some of the good, some of the bad? Just give us an overall view of what life has been for you through this journey.
Some of the good, some of the bad. Well, first of all, good morning. It's good to see your faces. I do not miss that cold weather. Y'all got to come on out to LA, okay? Next time I see y'all, it's gonna be on my coast, okay? No, but it is an absolute pleasure to be here. As you all know, I'm from Chicago. I grew up on the south side of Chicago, like many of you. I ended up going to Kenwood Academy. Yeah, so let's just talk about like my first challenge. Like, to be honest, I don't know if at your age, I knew that or felt compelled that I could go after my career in that way. I think that was my first challenge. Sometimes coming, from the inner city, and if no one else in your family is doing that, or you don't necessarily have the support system, sometimes it can be a little tough, so that is a challenge. You hear a lot of no's in this industry before you hear the yeses that you've been waiting for. So I would say, the main challenge is just mental toughness and awareness. To be honest with you. But if some of you all grew up like I grew up, then I think we were born and equipped with that, so I'm a go-getter. You're not going to tell me no too many times. And I believe in myself more than I believe in anything, except the higher power that I believe in. And I was going to go after it. Nothing was going to stop me from going after that. I will say some of the blessings that, some of the positives that come along with this career, in addition to, of course, getting to meet like my favorite people, you know what I'm saying? Like, I still fan out when I see people, right? Okay, so I'm on this show, Assisted Living, right, on BET with Tyler Perry. Right. I'm like, oh my God, it's Tyler Perry. And then when I see him, I'm like, okay, girl, don't fan out. Like, you here for work. You need him to know. You need him to know you're a professional. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sure what you're learning in this realm is, being able to turn it on and off. I can get down and speak like the rest of them, when I'm with my homies, of course. But, I want to be professional when I'm in the room. Or like, I've been a fan of Tamala Mann for a long time, honey. Take me to the king, right? Like, so I'm listening to my praise music on the way to work to get myself together. And then the praise lady comes walking down the hallway. I'm like, Lord, this is my life. You know what I'm saying? So those are some of the just wonderful things that come along with it. And I'll say this also, are any of you all interested in an acting career or journalism or anything like that? Raise a hand, maybe. No. A few of you. Yeah, or a broadcasting, it could be radio, whatever it is. The thing with that is that, well, like I was saying, you get a lot of no's, but the sacrifices that we have to make along the way I feel like the payout is worth it. So I'll say that, let me even speak your language money wise, right? It's like, because I'm like I went to school for elementary and middle school education. I taught English language arts initially, right? Which I think was very helpful. I was talking to students, being able to use my speaking voice in front of class. So that way there, that lessened my stage fright. Being able to try to connect with different people was helpful when I'm like doing a stage play and things like that. But and then, sometimes I found myself having to take some extra classes out of my pocket, like you're doing things like that. But I will say that the payoff comes, when you get that first big job, you will smile and say, I'm glad I made those sacrifices, So those are some of the fun. Right. Yes, yes.
This is a communications class that everybody has to take. It's public speaking, right? CMAT 30. And one of the things that my students often have challenges with is actually presenting in front of people. Like literally your profession, what you do from theater to on screen to movies to TV. How do you get yourself in a space where you have to perform, but that like if you're on set, it's everyone around you, but they're just capturing the scene, but you have the boom, you have the camera, you have the director. How do you get yourself into a space to where you can focus on your performance outside of all the extra what's going on?
To be honest, I would say I go inward. Right. So for me, that means that there's a prep talk, with myself. And I think I asked myself a few questions. One of them is, who am I doing this for? Some of us, it could be a parent, it could be a child, it could be yourself, your young self. Who are you showing up for? Who are you here to make proud, right? And so when I ask myself that question, I feel like it gives me my superpower, right? So you have to find what makes you comfortable, right? Like some of us meditate, right? That's not a strange thing to say anymore, right? So, I mean, honestly, before a show, I have to take at least 5 minutes to myself, like even a comedy show, right? So I do stand up as well now. I have my friends that come out. They're like, oh, girl, I'm excited. It's a comedy show. They eating their food. They ready for jokes. They're in a good mood. I have to have my own time. I make sure I go back somewhere by myself for at least 5 minutes to breathe, to calm down, to center myself, to remind myself who I'm doing it for. And then, there are tricks. So when you're looking out, they used to tell us crazy things like, imagine everybody's naked in the audience. That's crazy to me. I'm like, that makes me laugh. I don't know that. I don't necessarily want to do that one. You know what I'm saying? But no, now sometimes I do this. Sometimes I look past people, right? Like I'll look to the back of the room. If I look to the back of the room, nobody in between me and the back of the room feels like they're being missed, right? Sometimes that's a little trick for me. I'm just looking because I can't really see the people anyway. So that's a good tip for you. You know what I'm saying? When those lights are on you on stage, you can't really see.
Right. But prep is
go ahead.
Knowing what it is you're going to say and be prepared to say it, because it doesn't matter how much conversation or whatever you do, if you don't know what you're going to say, that's going to create a catastrophe.
Oh, well, let's get into that. I mean, you definitely need to be prepared. I wasn't even thinking we were talking along that level. Absolutely, right? Like preparation, like right now, I have to be on set in 2 weeks. I have 20 scripts that I'm looking at. Wow. That are 30 pages each. Wow. Like I'm getting on here with you today. After I do this, me and my son are going to go driving because he's 15. He's learning how to drive. That's exciting. And then after that, I'm in my script. I'm
Right.
learning my lines, right? I got my highlighters out. I got my notes. I'm walking around the house. I talk to myself in the mirror. You know what I'm saying? But the preparation is definitely has to be there. You have to put those hours in, right? And sometimes that may seem like the boring part, but it's the necessary part, right? Because when you get on stage, your brain is thinking about so many things at that point. I say I'm a 90% performer, but 10% of my brain is always working, you know. So preparation is key. Getting somebody, if you have someone in your realm, your support system that is able to kind of listen to you and go over stuff with you, a good buddy partner, study partner, that's always great. Sometimes we have to say no to things, as much as I like to go to a red carpet, a party or things like that. Sometimes if I have to be on set the next day, that might be something I have to say no to, and just know that in the long run, it's gonna serve me. Preparation. So for I mean, just in thinking about breaking down my scripts, I have people do several different things. Like I know a friend who rewrites his script. Sometimes, you know how they say when you're writing notes, the reason we write notes is because after we write them or we reform the sentence, now somehow it's embedded in our brain and we can now regurgitate that information. So I have a friend who writes down his scripts on note cards, right?
Just to transfer the action from
Just to
brain to the actual form of writing.
Just so he can read it, write it. Now he's saying it and he knows it.
Nice.
And then he takes those note cards with him. And if he gets stuck, he's able to, boom, boom, boom. Okay. Because sometimes with a play, you have to give yourself time too. So like, say you have a speech next Friday. You don't want to just be going over those notes on Thursday. You want to, and this is another thing that I do, especially in the age of technology now, is I record myself, right? So like when I'm doing an audition, you got your teacher over there doing this. Y'all better record yourself, dog. Yes, but I do that. So like I'll take my audition and on Tuesday, I'm gonna record it and I look at it and I'm like, oh, I like the way I move right here. I'm gonna keep that. I like the inflections that I added there. I'm gonna keep that. But I might see where I turned my face too much and now I'm not to camera and nobody can understand or read what I'm saying, right? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, Courtney, face the camera a little more, face the audience a little more. And then, so I do that on Tuesday and I make my notes and then I re-record myself on Thursday with those notes. And then I'm like, oh yeah, girl, that's it. That's exactly what I was trying to do. So now I know when I go on stage and say my speech on Friday that I worked on the things that I wanted to work on. You know what I'm saying?
We have a student with a few questions for you. Who else was the first to ask Ms. Nichole a question? This is Sydney.
Hi, Sydney.
Hi.
Pleasure.
So have you ever worked with actors or actresses that have a disability such as ADHD or something where they can't focus or remember their lines?
You know what? I will say that sometimes like people don't always share that information. But I'm sure that I have. You know what I'm saying? People, because of how I know they're responding, right? You know what I'm saying? But like people don't, you don't get grown and be like, girl, I got ADHD and I can't learn these lines. But I've seen it. And so two things I feel about that. The former educator in me is like, we have to work with all kinds of people. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we have to work with people who don't believe in what we believe, whether it be religion or about our race. Most of you all are Black that I see right now. I don't want to offend anybody, but that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like we're handling topics that are important to us, and then we go into these spaces and we have to deal with these people, right? So we have to learn the sensitivity for that. So working with people with ADHD, things like that. I would just say I try to accommodate people. Like I try to be the first to volunteer. I try to be accommodating, right? Because I know that that'll serve me, yes, in life to, one, as a good person, but just two, it'll help my work ethic. You know what I'm saying? Because now I know how to work with several different people and not just one person. Oh, I can only work with people like this. No, that ain't gonna get you nowhere, honey. I ain't gonna be a Cicely Tyson and work until I'm 90 with that attitude. You see what I'm saying? So, and I'm trying to work, honey. I want to be everybody's great grandmama. I want this week to be great, you know, and y'all be like, I remember her. So yes, I will say that. So like one thing that I love to do, like for my show, right? Like right now, people are auditioning for my show, Assisted Living, because we're about to go back and film season 5, right? So I'm a series regular on the show. I play the mom on the show, which means I'm the regular person on there. But sometimes, you know, we have guest stars, co-stars. They come in for just a show, an episode or whatever. I like to call those people. I call production and I'm like, hey, I see we got a new cast member. Can you give me their email or phone number? And not everybody wants to talk, which is cool. You know what I'm saying? But I love to call them. I'm like, hey, you know, I'm Courtney. I played Mama Leah on the show. You know, I'm like, I was just wondering if you wanted to run lines. Now, what that does for me and them is allows them to be comfortable. Right? Number one, now when they get to set, whether they have ADHD, whether they have anxiety about being there, whatever those things, I have done what I needed to do to try to let their guard down. They may not always let it down and it may not always work, but it's my effort, right? So that way, when we get on set, when all the cameras and stuff are floating, they know someone, number one. Two, we've already read our lines together, so we look like professionals on set. And then three, if they did have any learning disabilities, that allowed them to get it done ahead of time and not have to deal with it on set. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I think that that's something that I love to do. And it allows me to gain a friendship and hopefully a fan or whatever for life. You know what I'm saying? So.
Who has another question? Give me another question. DeMar, go ahead, and then Maya.
Do you have
Hey
to
there.
roles? Hey, how you doing? Do you have to travel a lot for your roles?
Oh, yes, all the time. I just got off a plane yesterday, which is why we had to switch days. I'm so glad we were able to do that. But yes, it's a lot of travel. You're switching time zones. You may be tired. But you know what I call that? The pregame. You know what I'm saying? Because there will be a day when, imagine how much Oprah flies or Taraji P. Henson or Denzel Washington. You know, it's like they're on set, they're flying, they're reading another script, talking to their wife or husband, because all of those things are still happening as well. Your life, just because you're on set doesn't mean those things aren't happening. So we do get to fly a lot, travel a lot. Yeah, so I like that part though. That's fun for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, fine, honey. That motivates me. I had 3 hours of sleep. Okay, we on autopilot. Let's go what we need to do. You know, I'll sleep later, child. Listen. So, but we do get to fly a lot, yeah.
This is Maya. She has a question for you.
Hi, Maya.
How hard was it to get into the entertainment? How hard was it to get into the entertainment industry?
I love that speaking up voice. It was very clear. Beautiful smile, right? Let's show you see how y'all loud I'm yelling. People say I got an amp in my throat, child. I'm like, they're gonna hear me. I got something to say. But how long did it take? That's a great question. Because I think in life, what you'll realize is that you will keep going after what you want, right? So when I was younger, I wanted to be in the industry. I feel like I was 11. Y'all know where the ETA Theater is in Chicago? Y'all heard of that? But it's like a cultural arts center where you can take dance, piano, music. I did my first play there. And that's what I wanted to do. And my mom tried to get me to do it. But at the time, she kept running into these scammers because the industry wasn't as transparent as it is now with TikTok and the internet and things like that, right? So they were trying to charge my mama $2,000 for some headshots and, you know, some other stuff. So I didn't get to follow through with it then. I'll say this. So then I did teaching because I was like, I need a check and I got to pay bills and I'm an adult now. And I also loved education, right? I wanted to make a difference in the community that I grew up in. So that was what I did. So I started back acting in 2008. And then I booked Assisted Living in 2020. So that was my first big role. That was 12 years. Now, over those 12 years, though, I did work on other things. Like I had national commercials playing. I did shows like I did one-offs like a Snowfall. Had an episode of SWAT. I had done some great stage plays like Fences that Viola and Denzel did, where I still made money, but it wasn't the big role that I think a lot of people, the roles that people know me for. So,
I want to kind of, because you talked about your role in SWAT, you were an attorney. Then in Snowfall, I don't know, I just saw a small clip of it. I just noticed you were flirting with a young man. And then there was a scene where you were playing the mother of someone who had been shot.
Oh yeah.
They were dying. And that almost made me cry. I showed that to my students prior. Like, what is your motivation to get to that space? Because now you're doing comedy. So we have comedy, then we have like drama, right? Like, what are your methods to get in those spaces for comedy and then go all the way to the other end to drama?
You know, the beautiful thing about comedy is that it's laughter, right? So that I love.
The show too. I need to catch a show.
Thank you. Yes, catch the show. Catch up. It's on BET. Season 4 just wrapped. So yes, absolutely. So comedy is great. The lady I play on that show is from Chicago, and she's a mother of 2 kids, and she's married. So I'm married. I've been a teacher. I have 1 son, and I'm from Chicago. So that's in me. You know what I'm saying? People watch that show and they like, oh girl, you just playing yourself. Even though there is technique to it that I'm using, you know, but very much similar to myself. But you still have to go to a place. I still have to imagine who she is, because she's a nurse. I've never been that. So what I do with that is I have an aunt that's a nurse. Like there was an episode and the guy was, something was going on with his sugar, as they say with older people. So I'm like hitting my auntie up. I'm like, all right, well, what's the difference? Or what's this? Or what would I do? What does this look like? So I do my research. You guys, research is important in any field you're in. You know, whether you're a journalism and you go into set and it's been a car accident, you need to know who was in the car accident, which cars, are they okay, as you report this information. I have to do research on my roles as well. So like you said, I just played, like you said, a lawyer. The girl who was in Snowfall, she was like a biker chick going after this drug dealer dude, you know what I'm saying? But even still, what does that look like? Like the tattoos that I had on my chest and my arm in Snowfall, I don't have those. But that was me getting into character. I'm like, oh baby, give me a leather vest. Put me a tattoo right here. That's what kind of chick she, you know, so like it changes me. They put that vest on me and I was like, oh, she a bad chick, you know? So those are the fun roles. But then you talk about your more dramatic roles, like the one where I had to come out and they had my son laying in my driveway, you know? I don't know about you, but like I said, I grew up on 114th and Forest. I was supposed to go to Finger, but my mama had me tested and sent me to Kenwood. You know what I'm saying? I have seen blood running down on ice from somebody getting beat in the wintertime for whatever they did. You know what I'm saying? I've known of people getting shot in the neighborhood. I was walking down the street and some Latin Kings decided they wanted to shoot up my side of the block that day and had to run to a porch or behind a car. You know what I'm saying? So I have life experiences, I say. So what I do is I don't know if you've heard this phrase before, but I keep it in my toolbox, right? So my father passed away in 2016, the year after I moved to LA. That's the biggest hurt I've ever felt, right? And in those moments that it happened, it's interesting when you're an artist because you process things, you learn to process things, right? So in that moment, I'm like, I lost my dad and this is the most hurtful thing I've ever had to experience. But I also realized that it would be beautiful if I were able to use it for my art. Because what we learn in English language arts that I taught, right, is that life is about connections. right? What are those connect? We learn them in elementary school. It's connection to world, connection to text, connection to person, right? Like those are the basic three things, right? And so it's like, when I use my father in my prep, right? Remember I told you I need those minutes beforehand, right? So like I did a play where I had this breakdown moment. So for instance, I thought of there's a song called Dance with My Father. It's an old song by Luther Vandross. I don't know if you know it. Some of you all have parents. Y'all might have been subject to that song. I would take my headphones, and that's the song that I would listen to before I went on set. And even now I can feel my emotions stirring, because if I could have that one last dance with my father, it would be what I would ask for, right? So I work myself up. But a lot of times you can't go on stage already worked up, right? But what I've done is I've allowed those emotions to be already right here at my fingertips, right? And then I take that moment away, do a little dance, whatever, get ready. And then while I'm on stage and in that moment, when the hurt thing happens to me, I'm already worked up.
So you're
And
you're able to hold the emotion there until that actual time.
I don't let it come all the way up. That's what happens. Like, I don't let the tears actually fall. When I feel it, I'm like, okay, that's it, Courtney, just push it down. It's there. I have to trust myself and know that I have trained my instrument to use it. So then when I walk on stage and that moment happens, because there's a buildup. It's like, oh, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. Oh, it was like a breakup scene I was going through. The dude embarrassed me, blah, blah, blah. And when he hurts me, that hurt already activates what is going on inside of me. And then back to the connection that I was talking about, when the people in the audience come up to me afterwards and say that they felt what I felt, guess what? They're probably feeling my connection to my father. They don't know that. I know that. That's a secret. You have a personal always have a personal secret. Like I said, who you doing this for, your reminder, that's for you. You don't have to tell everybody that. I shared to you that's what I use as my father's passing away, because that's who I love. That, you know what I'm saying? And so now, even though in the play I was breaking up with a man, it was still love. Right? So what the audience is feeling is my hurt from a love breakup. But they felt the connection that I felt to my father, because we're human. It was a person-to-person connection. Persons can connect. When I got emotional, like you said, Earle, when you saw that, you felt my emotion. What you felt was my emotion,
Myself, but I wasn't crying in front of them.
Yeah, absolutely not. No.
I'm gonna admit, we have a few more minutes because I gotta get back.
Okay. Yes.
Somebody else had one more question that we wanted to ask. You've answered the majority of their questions.
Oh, good. Okay, good.
But then he has another question.
Really quick.
Hold on 1 second. Tavion, you got a question? No, Tavion has to ask. Scoot over. You got a shot. Gotta get
it's more y'all over there. Hey.
It's Tavion.
How you doing?
I'm good.
My question was, what is one thing that like a family member, a friend, or even like another actor or director has told you that you use to, that resonates with you when you know, in front of the camera or going into a new job?
So the first season I was on set and I was practicing a scene, I heard Mr. Perry talking, and he said, then he looked at me and he said, "You have a great attitude. Don't change."
Yeah, just that simple, huh?
That's simple. And when I go to set, I've worked with some amazing people. Cedric the Entertainer, Tashina Arnold. I was on The Neighborhood. Cedric the Entertainer, Tashina Arnold. I worked on The Upshaws, Mike Epps, Kim Fields, who has worked since she was a child. Tyler Perry, Tamala Mann, Naeem Lynn, who works with Kevin Hart in the Plastic Cup Boys. The one thing that I will say, Shamar Moore on SWAT, is that all of these people were pleasant to me. They didn't have to chum me up, but they were pleasant to me. They didn't act like they were too big. They all spoke. Wanda Sykes, Mike Epps, my scene wasn't even with him. When he walked by, he was like, hey, good to have you on set. You know what I'm saying? Like, make somebody else feel good. You know, sometimes we get away from that human connection, unfortunately. And it matters because these are OGs in the game, right? And though I've been working for a little while, I'm still new to them. And so I would say, like, what he said to me is like, have a great attitude, don't change, right? When I go to set, these people, all of these people on set are working. They fixing the lighting to make sure I look good on camera. They are fixing the boom mics to make sure I sound good on camera. They doing my makeup and hair to make sure I look good on camera. They picked out this wardrobe for me to make sure I look good on camera. The least I can do is come in here and speak to them and be nice to them in the morning.
Awesome.
You come in there with an attitude, acting like you too shy, you can't speak. Speak to these people. Look at them in their face. Hey, how you doing? You ain't got to ask them about their mama. You ain't got to give them $5. You ain't got to take them home with you. It's, you know what I'm saying? You're not committing to doing anything past saying hello. But that hello just made them, guess what? Girl, they're going to make sure that lash is on there just right. Do you know when I'm on set, I have somebody putting my makeup on and a sock and a shoe on. I don't even have to put my shoes on set, y'all. So I'm saying this person is humbling themselves to put shoes on my feet while I'm about to work. I can speak to them. And if I'm working with them for 4 weeks, I try to learn their names. And then you know what else I do is I buy gifts for everybody, even if it's a little gift. I had my auntie, she does these craft things. I had her make up baggage claims and put assisted living on them. I gave it to everybody who works in the cast and the crew. And they were like, oh, we didn't even know you knew we were here. You see what I'm saying? And those things matter. So I would say that was one of my biggest takeaways.
Courtney, thank you so much for taking your time.
Absolutely. I want you all to give yourselves a round of applause. I know we only have 7 minutes, but you all look like everybody I grew up with, every student that I taught. One of the beautiful things that I love is, like I say about the students that I taught, I was like, you know, they say it's 6 degrees of separation. Well, to my students, it's not 6, it's 1. If I bought them lunch, if I gave them a pencil, if I hugged them, if I messed with them in the morning, if I fussed at them, that meant I cared about them. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, to me, I hope they can take that away and say, if Miss Celestine, which was my teacher name, you know, but if Miss Courtney can do it and make her dreams happen, then so can I. So I hope that all of your dreams come true. I hope that you all dream big, not small, dream big, want those things. And listen to me, every little step in the right direction equals big results, you guys. And that's real talk. For 2 years, I said to myself, I put on my wall, I want to be a series regular. I would make a 3-month goal. And when it didn't happen in that 3 months, I put it up for my next 3 months and my next 3 months until I got it.
Look at you.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm so thankful that I'm here. And then what I want you to do after that is continue to sow into each other. That's what Mr. Perry tells us to do. He says, reach back. You know what I'm saying? And so this is my opportunity to reach back, to talk to you all, to tell you to continue to do the same things. I know you don't love me, but I love all of you all, right? I want to see you grow. I want to see you in the spaces that you want to be in, right? Even if it's not in front of the camera. Do you know sound engineers make so much money?
How much?
And they mix in the sounds, you know, lighting. If you like wardrobe, like they putting outfits together. That's what we do when we play with our Barbies. Like, come on, you know what I'm saying? Like, these are things that you would normally do. So I'm just saying, live your wildest dreams. You want a Lamborghini, put it on your wall and then tell me how you're going to get there. When you invest in yourself, the return on your investment, your ROI has to be high, baby. Because it's you. Your stock is high. So I hope you take that with you. And I hope, you know, y'all get to just live your dreams. So I don't know what else to say, but thank you for having me, Earl.
So I have checked it out. I have saw episodes of Assisted Living. What I was talking about your show is your stand-up that you're doing.
Oh, yes.
That's what I'm
Oh,
talking
okay.
about.
Okay.
I need
I
to
got to
come
do
up-
something in Chicago.
Yeah, and if not, I'll fly out to LA and check you out.
Let's go. Praise God.
No worries. I don't know how you were able to stay looking the same since high school, but you did it. Good job. Whatever you're doing, keep doing that.
Hey, brother, we doing good. I think we're doing good in this
It's
world.
all
Okay.
right. I think it's working out pretty well.
Yeah, we're
Thank
using
you.
our moisturizer.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Courtney.
Thank you.
We will talk soon. And be on the lookout for season 4?
Season 5, it'll be out next year, but y'all can go back and catch up now. Just catch up on all the craziness that we go through. Yeah.
Got you. Courtney Nichole, give her a round of applause again.
Thank you guys. Y'all have a great day and do well. Speak loud.
Absolutely. Thank you, Courtney.
Give out loud. All right. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.